The best thing that I've learned about myself is I'm very adaptable, and that I'm not fearful of circumstances that happen, So during the pandemic, obviously we panicked, or everyone was like, this has never happened. And, sales were going down. And not only that, prior to that, I made some recruitment decisions, hiring people, and really, it really affected the business cash flow. And I remember my virtual CFO going, you really need to sack some people, right? Even though they're lovely, but you got to think about your numbers. And I remember going, nope, I'm not scared. I'm going to keep hustling and I'm going to push through. And I just realized that with that attitude, I can survive anything. And I think that attitude really came from being a single mum and surviving as a teenage mum, and knowing that you can survive that. I really felt that the pandemic really was, again, another challenge that was like, oh my God, this is different, it's new, but it's like holding on to the past triumphant or victory that I'm able to go, I can do that again. So, growing up, I didn't have the family who was supportive. I was unlucky and lucky in a sense, where unlucky in that they weren't supportive, but the lucky in that because they were like that, I was very like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm really going to just show you that if you put your mind to anything, you can succeed. And that's just out of faith. Like, I had no role models. I had no aunties and uncles that have done it. I just purely had something in my heart that really pushed me through. So I had to really just go through life with blind faith, and just knowing that I just don't like my current lifestyle, and I really want to make a change. And with that clear vision and goal, I really just, stayed focused regardless of my parents going, stop doing what you're trying to do. You're never going to succeed. And now that you're a single mom, you're even more worse chance of doing it. And so I really just didn't want any of those, I guess, people's beliefs to be put on me, even if it's my own parents. And there are times where I have to like move away from them, not live with them, and just do my own thing. And I think that is the reason why, whether people succeed or not, sometimes it's because we're listening to too many other people's advice on how we should live our life. And I basically was like able to ignore and push through faith, just truly believing that you can, and then being able to just take one day at a time, and finishing uni, let's get a job, learn some things, and then okay, now it's just try to start a business. You have no idea, but just do something one day at a time. And those one day equals 10 years later. It's like, okay, so glad I started my business. Now I'm like way ahead of a lot of people. It's always about problem solving and how do you make people's life better. And so outsourcing Angel was like, how do I get people to get things done in their marketing and admin easily and make it even more cost effective? All right, let's stop being the middleman and let's match them directly. So that's how I came up with the idea. Now with Dawn Media, once again, video marketing was something that I started to get into in 2018. I'll remember going, that's it, I'm going to really try to put effort in videos, because I just knew that videos were a way for us to expand ourselves, right? There's only one of us, and we can't talk one-on-one with everybody, but we can talk one-to-many. And video is one of those amazing way to like get ourselves out there. And even if you're asleep, your online version could still be floating around on YouTube and people can watch it. So I knew how powerful it was, but I went through the same experience as most people. Don't know what to talk about. So hard to get into the momentum of creating videos. I'm awkward, I'm shy, everything else. But because I made that decision, I really just pushed through and went through it. And so when I was trying to think, well, actually the idea came from me and a friend wanting to do something together as like a project. Like, what can we do together as a project? And I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to help people create video content easily. And, it's one of those ideas that I don't do anything about, but since we're talking about, let's do something together, let's do it. My goal for Dawn Media is like, how do I take away all of those problems as a business owner trying to get into videos, to have like, back in the days, I wish someone could do this for me. And so what I love about pivoting is not about what can I do to make money? It's really about what can I do to make people's lives better? And if someone else isn't doing it, I'll do it. And then being able to constantly listen to the market. And I remember starting out Dawn, we were just focusing on helping people to not be shy. And how we do that is we interview people, we record the video so that we can get the best snippets from people, like the little bite-sized videos. But we quickly realized that some people don't know what to do with the videos, or some people who, they're too busy to even release and publish the video. And so we had to go, okay, well, how can we make their life better? So we added in strategy, added in, execution and publishing the video for you. And so it's really about listening and continuing to pivot in a way to serve the people that you want to serve. And by adding value is how you grow your business. Oh, this is my favorite topic. So I'm actually writing a book right now called The Happiest CEO. And the book was inspired by me witnessing people who have more success than me, more, wealthier than me. And I'm talking about even my own husband who has a bigger business than me, and yet he's always stressed out. He was always delaying happiness, going, until I finish this, then I'll go on holiday, or until I finish, I'm grumpy because of my business and all that stuff. And then also growing up with my parents who was working day and night and never had a holiday. And that was the reason why maybe I was so motivated to always question myself in a sense, how can I have success, but at the same time enjoy my life and be happy? Because I've witnessed my own parents, unhappy and not even having a good marriage because they were just letting their business or their job really take over their life. And then I was able to then witness it, like I said, with even people that aren't my parents' age and this generation. And so I realized that why have I always been happy? It's because I've always prioritized happiness. Even when I was a single mom, I made sure to take care of myself, meaning, sorry, I got to go to a nightclub with my girlfriends. I'm only 21, I'm not going to sit at home and just cuddle my kids. I will go home and mind my kids, but I will always have that self-care time to pursue my own dreams, time for my kids. And it's really about having that balanced life that allowed me to be happy. So happiness is actually accumulation of joyful moments that we create for ourselves. I'm a happy person because I choose to create little joyful morning. For example, my morning routine would be waking up early so I have my time for myself, meditate, journal, exercise. Those are little key moments that make those little moments joyful. And if you have a lot of joyful moments, you end up realizing you have a happy life. And so I think people think that they need to get to success, get to somewhere, but that somewhere never gets somewhere, especially people who are busy in business too. It's always like, oh, until this finish, but something else will pop up. And so it's like, how do you create more joy in your life and kind of also make it integrated, inclusive in the way you run your life. So it doesn't feel like it's, you got to live a crappy life for a long time and then you go on a big holiday. No, it's about little things that could make your day. And so I even spend time writing like letters to my staff. You know why? It gives me joy. When I write that love letter to one of my team member and post it to them, they receive it and they're like, oh my God, you made me feel something. And all those we discredit a lot of little things that we do, but those little things are so important into being happy, regardless of what our external circumstance is. Be less ignorant. So I think when I was younger, I thought I knew everything. I think most teenagers think like, I know it all, and yes, it served me in a way where I was curious. I got myself out there, but I also was very blinded by a lot of things. I was never reading books. I never really got out of my own little shell. And so now that everything that I am now is very different to when I was younger. Now it's like I embrace learning. I focus more on the moment and present moment, and also not stressing out about controlling situations. Of course, it came with maturity. I don't think any young person would already know straight away. But I think if I was to talk to my young self, it would be more of like, just calm down, kind of treat each moment in a peaceful, calm way. do each thing right, and also learn more, ask more questions, and I guess don't have to make as much mistakes that I did, because I've done a lot of silly mistakes, dating wrong people, doing a lot of things, which I think it also just came down to me. I know it all, and what I find in life is there are people who are grown up and still, I know it all. Oh, that's common sense, or that's that. And I'm like, oh my God. So it doesn't matter what age people are at, they still just have that mindset that limits them. And so my limitation was being blocked, or my growth was being blocked because I thought I knew everything when I was younger. So I was not born religious at all. My parents are like Buddhists, but don't really practice it. I went to Catholic schools, and I never believed anything in the Bible, any teaching. I felt it was like a nice moral story, but there was nothing interesting. And so faith for me at the time there was just something in my heart that showed me a life that I knew I should have, but I'm not living it right now. And I can't describe that. I don't know how, but it was being able to see the unseen. And, like I said, I told my parents, like, oh, my dream is to be successful and be rich, and I'm going to live like this one day. I just saw it in my invisible eyes. And I had conviction, like I knew it was going to happen. But it was hard for other people to see it, because it's like how, like, what evidence have you got? Like, some people could say, oh yeah, I'm going to live this life because my family is rich, or that, there's evidence. There was no evidence for me. And so I don't know why that faith was an inbuilt-in thing that I felt in my heart, and I could ignore every noise out there, because it was if someone or God told me deep down without any logic. It wasn't a spoken word, but it was a feeling in the heart. And so I guess I would call myself very intuitive, can feel things. And look, I made a lot of mistakes, and I did a lot of silly things, which then led me into that moment where I remember going, oh my God, God, why is my life so difficult? And I need help here. And that first surrendering moment was when I discovered there was a real God, because in that moment was the first time that my life changed in that year. So prior to that, I made a lot wrong decisions, never saw any opportunities in life, only had the faith, but was making everything wrong. But when I surrendered to God, who at that time I didn't know even existed, in that year, I was, all of a sudden I saw opportunities. I saw that I should do a life coaching course. Then I did the coaching course, and I learned so much about myself and how life works. And then I went and discovered, vision boards and manifestation. I started practicing gratitude. I did everything. And in that year, my whole life changed, from starting a business, finding the love of my life and all that. So I was like, oh my God, there is a God out there. And it gives me even more reason to have faith. And over the last 10 years, I guess I was even more hungry for spirituality. And it was like something deeper is calling me. I don't know what it is. And I was fortunate enough 2 years ago to stumbled across a video on YouTube from a pastor who spoke to me. I just felt it in my heart. And I thought I should go to church. And one thing led to another. And I am now a Christian. And so I just got baptized last year. And why am I telling you that is that I came from a person that was so logical in life, was an atheist, and believe in faith in that way, faith in terms of spirituality and God. But I basically witnessed it all and converted myself. No one actually converted me. And now I would say that my faith is deeper. It's not just, just like, oh, there's a heart feeling, there's a thing. It's more of a faith in God. I know God has designed my life in this way and that way. And that means that I live a much more peaceful life now. Wow, they test my patience. And look, I still wouldn't say I'm the perfect mum, and I don't think there's a rule book for that, but I always measure it in terms of how affectionate they are towards me, how independent they are, and not look into the little details every day. But overall, I feel like whenever I'm yelling at them and really angry, I can see the side of me that needs to improve. But at the same time, I'm still figuring out how to not do that and have them listening. So I feel like it's such a learning curve. And I feel like luckily they aren't kids forever. So that when they grow up, they, eventually the lesson kind of like ends. But yeah, I feel like my kids are very affectionate, and kids are carefree. But you know what? I'm always a child at heart as well. So that's how I feel like I'm very close to my kids, because I just feel like I'm forever young. So I talk to them like friends, and I love hanging out with them, but I don't act like I'm like a mum unless it's like, all right, school time, do this, do that. But other than that, I feel like we really connect in our immaturity level. So, and yeah, having kids is really, really fun. It just keeps, I was fortunate to be a mum so young. So I felt like I had a purpose, because my son, because I was only 20 when I had him, and it gave me that drive, that motivation to push harder. And I think sometimes people don't have kids yet until they're later, and I guess they're not as motivated. Yeah. And I feel like once, I always hear from friends who are like, oh, now I have a family, I have kids, things change. And I would say, yeah, early on in my 20s, I remember really valuing time and flexibility, because I was like, oh my God, having a kid is so difficult to balance the time. So I need to start a business, because a job isn't going to give me flexibility. So my priority is having freedom to do what I want to do with the people I love. So I experienced that in my early 20s, whereas people in their 30s now or 40, whenever they have, had enough of the corporate life and realizing it's taking away a lot of their time from their family, is when they're coming to that same realization. It's like, I need to do something with my life, more purposeful. It's not all about the money. It's about time. It's about freedom. It's about purpose and mission. And so I'm lucky that I've discovered that early on, and having a kid young has been the driver for it. My legacy is to just really set a good example in any way that I can. So, I utilize every circumstance I can and when I say set a good example, is setting a good example of love, generosity, freedom, and just giving people that inspiration. And I try to, business is just like I guess a measuring board, more for gamifying life. But in reality, as part of my daily work every day in business, I enjoy the small moments. Like I love to, like I told you, sending a card to a team member, doing some surprises. I would surprise my family and friends on a holiday, and just doing little gestures, or sometimes big gestures that aren't asked for. It shows people that, you can actually share love and express love without being transactional. And I guess my legacy is just being able to get people to see that life is in creating joyful moments, and I want people to create more joyful moments, and that anyone could do it. And you can do it at work, you can do it at home, you can do it when you're out there, and you can make your friends and family happy, and extended people happy, not just your immediate family. And so I try to do as many of these little things as possible to get people to go, wow, how does she do that? Because most people get so caught up in their day-to-day life that they don't have time for the thing that means the most. Because when you're dying in bed, it's really about, who did I spend most time with? What did I do that was special and adding value to people? And so I just want to encourage people to do it more often, every day. Oprah, that's my favorite. She's my favorite. I just feel like she's another version of me, or I'm a version of her. Titanic popped up in my mind. I love movie. I love things that it's because of love. And I remember that, that end moment, and then they couldn't be together. Yeah. You just laugh at them. They make you laugh without feeling awkward. They're witty. I would say have a good sense of humor when they're witty. I would still do the same as what I'm doing. I still run my own business. I still look for ways to do philanthropy work, you know, and still wouldn't, you know, still try to raise my kids as if we don't have money, shouting friends and family on holiday, which I'm already doing. So I don't think anything is different. I'd just be doing more of it and more bigger quantity. Yeah. When clients come to us for help, we actually hire people from developing countries like the Philippines. So helping people have jobs in their own home place is already something that's very valuable. And it's very heartwarming for me to know that for every job created is a family's life changed. But on top of that, we also donate 10% of our profit towards charity projects. So we do things as so we have different charity groups that we work with, and they're not organizations with, you know, popular organizations where they take the money and then they might pay the admin people before anything goes. We usually work with like direct people, volunteers, or friend of a friend who has family over there that needs help. So we like to really go direct as much as possible. And so some of these projects include people living in remote towns in the Philippines where they're up in the mountains hours away and people can't get there, and there's no electricity, no water, nothing really. And so we have volunteers there that we give money to, and we would build water wells, houses, and just a bunch of things. And then we've also used to work with you know, like an orphan where there's a lot of kids and students in there that want to learn more about maybe how to work online. And so we've done stuff like that. And recently we've just been really adapting to whatever's happening in the marketplace. So meaning like when the Ukraine war happened, we would have our charity bucket to be able to donate to some work over there and some work in Vietnam. So it's really about us, you know, using the profit we earn from business and channeling into the right places as much as possible. I want to just let everyone know that, you know, business doesn't have to be stressful. Life can be stressful in a sense when you think there are things coming at you, but you can still create happy moments. Don't accept things as okay, well, I have to be stressed, things are happening, so I have to be. No, you can turn to faith, to God. You can start designing your day so it allows you more time to work on yourself. There's things you can do to really change your life, to be happy. You can be happy in every moment, regardless of your circumstances.